If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you're perusing through YouTube looking to elevate your home office or build out a new one. There are a lot of different products out there. Now, this video, I will be sharing some products with you as well. However, I kind of want to share more of an approach to how you should think about your workspace and 5 upgrades that I've consistently made in my workspace, no matter the products, more from like a high level. Now, the first upgrade you should consider is proper power solutions. Shout out to Anker for sponsoring this portion of the video when we talk about power. Now, if you're watching this and you never have the problem with cables or clutters or not having enough ports to charge your devices, or they're just not in the right places in your workspace, if that's not a problem you have, I'd probably just skip to the next section or category of this video. But if you do have that problem and you're constantly looking for ports and getting rid of cable clutter, let me show you a few of these products. Now, Anker obviously specializes in aesthetic and functional power solutions, but they just rolled out a new product line called Anker Prime, and there's some fire products in this lineup. Now, most likely the first area that you're going to need power solutions is your desk, because that's probably where you spend the most time and where you have the most devices laying around. This is the Anker Prime charging station that has a screen built in onto the front of the device. On this screen, it displays charging status, output numbers, and a few other things. It also has 6 ports, so you're able to charge many things all simultaneously. There's also a really satisfying twist button control, and this allows you to control a few things on the screen itself. Now, if the screen is not all that important to you, they also offer a version without the screen and without the twist button control. However, it does have 50 less watts of total output, but it still gets the job done. And if you're the type of person that needs AC outlets on your desk and not just USB-C or USB ports, they also have a 6-port version with 2 AC outlets that you can turn on and off for maybe some of those devices where you actually want to plug it in on top of your desk. Now, the next power solution is most likely for those of you who use a MacBook or a laptop as a dock or hub to plug in displays or other peripherals when you come home. This right here is the Anker Prime charging and docking station. This hub can transfer files at extremely fast speeds, 10 gigabytes. It also has a HDMI port, Ethernet, USB-A, USB-C. Pretty much with this one docking station, you're covered across the board for all your peripherals on your desk. And of course, you can plug in external displays, actually up to 2 4K displays on this one dock. Now, a lot of these power solutions are kind of semi-permanent. You kind of plug it in and forget about it and start using it, and you don't really unplug it often. However, there are a few things that I use in this space and on the go that are more portable. This right here is the Prime power bank. It actually distributes up to 65 watts of power, which is pretty insane for how small it is. It's a portable battery pack that you can use to plug in even a laptop at this size. Is pretty insane. It also has a foldable plug, which is super handy when you need to recharge the battery pack and don't need to use an external cable. But also there's pass-through power now, so you can actually recharge the battery pack, keep it topped off while also powering your devices. It's kind of a 2-in-1 there. Speaking of cables, you're going to need one if you're going to plug into any of these devices. And Anker offers a USB-C to USB-C cable, which is pretty standard nowadays, but this one is really nice because it's durable, it's braided. It also distributes up to 240 watts of power, so it's perfect for things like laptops and power-hungry devices. And a notable mention is the Prime charger. It's just a simple power brick that can charge up to 3 devices at 100 watts of power distribution. So if you want to level up the power solutions in your space, all the products that I just talked about are going to be linked in the description. Now, the next upgrade that I absolutely cannot live without is proper gear organization. Now, for some context, I do video production, so I have a lot of mics and weird gear and knickknacks that just used to just sit on shelves, but I got a tool chest from Husky. Disclaimer, this one that I specifically have, this stainless steel top, 72-inch length one, is freaking heavy. 10 out of 10, would not recommend bringing up a flight of stairs or putting anywhere that has corners or it's gonna be hard for you to maneuver because it's really difficult and heavy and you need like 5 people to lift it. But they do have smaller versions. You don't need this one in particular. It's just overall the concept of using a tool chest for organization. But no matter what profession you do, you probably have tools, probably have things you need to organize. And so there are a bunch of different ways you could do it. You can get drawers, you can get closets, you can get shelves. But personally, if they're small enough, I would highly recommend getting a tool chest. 1, because it looks super cool, but 2, it's actually really functional to have drawers and pullouts with your gear. I love having drawers that are specific to the gear that I have. So I have a drawer for like audio stuff, a drawer for stabilization, like gimbals, I also have a miscellaneous drawer where it's just a random hodgepodge of stuff that I just throw in when I don't know where to put it. And I kind of showed it in the last section of the video, but this tool chest also has power outlets, which is in a pull-out drawer, which is almost like a bay that I use as a charging station, and also outlets across the side of the tool chest. So for those quick access AC outlets, it's there. So if you have a lot of items or gear that need to be organized frequently, I would highly recommend getting a tool chest to organize it all. Now the next upgrade that I honestly cannot live without is a vertical monitor setup. More specifically, a dual display, so like one horizontal and one vertical. Let me explain why. Now there's always this debate on which monitor setup is the best, which configuration. I'm pretty sure I've seen a tweet or a Twitter somewhere about which monitor configuration is you and which one is best. Honestly, I would die on this hill, but if you're trying to have a minimal functional setup, it's the one horizontal with the one vertical on the side. If you really want to get crazy with it, you can have two verticals. But for my workflow, this really works well for me because the left vertical monitor is typically where I have my daily windows. So my calendar, my Notion, my Spotify, things that kind of just stay open all live on the vertical monitor, which means my main monitor that I'm looking at directly in front of me is kind of flexible depending on what it is actually that I'm working on, so I can kind of have all my focus straight ahead. When I'm video editing, which is often, the left side monitor that's vertical, I'm able to open the media window super big. If you're not into video editing, this might not be that crazy for you, but for me, it's an absolute game changer because when I'm editing videos, you'll know that when you're picking clips from, let's say, where you dump the footage, it's usually a very small portion of your screen. You kind of have to like scroll through and find which clips you want to drag into your edit. But now with the vertical monitor, I literally have the whole folder open, full bleed, and I'm able to kind of view the small thumbnail and all the clips, or like 100 of them at the same time, so that it's way easier and way quicker to edit my videos. In terms of actual displays and how it's configured, I'm using two Apple Studio displays. One is a VESA mount version, so I have an arm, like a monitor arm that I got off Amazon to mount the vertical monitor, which I can adjust and tilt and whatever. And then the actual main monitor that I'm looking at in front of me is the height adjustable and tilt adjustable studio display. So that's the one that comes with the stand itself already. But you don't need these ones in particular. You can get cheaper monitors or different monitors that have better specs. This is just mainly the vertical configuration with the horizontal in front of you. If you're liking this video so far and you haven't already, I'd super appreciate it if you give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. The next crucial upgrade is going to be the lighting, but more specifically, diffused lighting in your workspace. Now, lighting is everything, in my opinion. When it comes to a productive and functional workspace, the way the light makes you feel is actually really important. It's no different than walking into a house or a building that has natural light from a window, how that makes you feel, versus walking into a dark basement with no windows and how that makes you feel. It's the same thing. If you don't have a window or you do have a window, the lighting can really elevate your space or take away from it. But you see, when it comes to the desk or workspace, a lot of people just have like desk lamps or floor lamps or like a monitor light, which are all fine. They do get the job done, but oftentimes these lights, like the source of it is a bit harsher, and so maybe it just doesn't, for me personally, it just never really worked because I felt like there was too much of a concentrated source of light hitting my eyes, and it sometimes would be distracting or just not put me in the right mood. It's so weird to say, but it's so true. So I've realized the source of your light and how diffused it is plays a huge role. When the light is diffused, it's just easier on your eyes and honestly just feels more inspiring when a space is lit better. So in my home office, I have this Amaran F22 mounted overhead for this desk setup that you're looking at behind me. This is a flex LED panel that has a softbox, so the light that's casted down is extremely soft. It's really nice. The main workstation, I have another light, but also has a light dome, and it kind of creates this big soft source of light. And especially at night when there's no more sun, no more natural light, this big source of light really helps me stay productive, stay awake, and also not too much, harsh light concentrated on my eyes. These types of lights are much more controllable, and you can dial in the color very precisely and also adjust the intensity. Oftentimes when you're buying lamps and things like that, you kind of are stuck with like 3 different modes or 3 different dim settings. So it's kind of harder to tweak the light just to your liking. So it doesn't really matter what exact fixtures or lights that you get. It's more about how it's diffused and how large the light source is, because that will have a direct impact on the quality and how it makes you feel. Now, the next upgrade that I absolutely cannot live without is kind of 2-part, but it's more tapping into the human senses. Of course, the ones we've talked about kind of go into the more visual and touch and like function. This is more so going into the sound and also the scent. Just stay with me for a second. So when I am into any kind of workspace or home office, I realize the speakers that I have that creates the vibe, or if I'm bumping music or editing a video, is extremely important. And then the scent, like how it actually smells in the room, is also super important. The ones that I'm specifically rocking are the Audio Engine A2 speakers. But when I'm editing videos, when I'm trying to get into the vibe and I'm bumping music, it seriously just fires me up. There are some days where the music actually picks me up out of my productivity slump, and I'm able to just feel inspired by it and get to work. Of course, you can have headphones, you don't need speakers. Depending on your setup, you might have roommates or you might not be able to use speakers super loudly. So definitely not everyone's gonna be able to just have speakers. But when I used to rock headphones, there's just something about the noise cancellation features in a lot of newer headphones nowadays that I don't like when it's like dead silent when there's nothing on. But with the headphones, sometimes I'm very immersed, but in a way it's like too much immersion and I want some ambient sounds. The speakers really helps with that. Now, when it comes to the scent or smell portion, you know, honestly, everybody has a different smell in their house. I don't know, I used to talk about this growing up with my friends, but every house has a specific scent. Every person or friend that you have has a specific scent. And sometimes you don't know what your scent is because you can only detect other people. You're in it 24/7, so you just don't know about it. However, you can control the scent in your workspace by using something like a diffuser. Now, the purpose isn't to cover up bad smells. That's not why you have a diffuser typically. It's usually just to fill a space with a different aroma or a different scent. To get the space smelling right, I use this Vitruvi diffuser and also this scent by Aromatech. It's essential oil that I kind of like drop a few things into the diffuser. Shout out to my friend Matthew and Sina. When I went to his studio, it smelled so good in there and I had to ask him what essential oil or scent he was using, and he showed it to me. It's this one by Aromatech. It's the Santal essential oil, but it just smells so good. And honestly, when I start my day and I'm trying to get in the right mood and the right vibe, playing music, having the place smell right, I don't know why it's kind of not necessary, but it does make a difference. And obviously I'm giving you the upgrades that I personally cannot live without in any of my home offices or desk setups. At the end of the day, your home office is going to look different than my home office, and that's okay. Everyone has their own style, preferences, budgets, etc. But for me, I always look at home office builds and desk setups from a functional standpoint. It needs to obviously look good, like anything you buy needs to be aesthetic. I'm just a sucker for well-designed products, but it also needs to be functional. You can't have everything look good and then there's no function in your workspace because you're there to get work done. So if you're in the process of building out your workspace and you want to improve it, don't worry too much about the decor and splurging a ton of money on hanging things on the wall or expensive items that just look good. Rather, think about your workflow and then plan your upgrades around how you can accomplish your best work. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.